what was it that you liked about the storyline to want to be a part of it and be one of the uncles?
I think with the storyline it's a story about family and love and I think breaking generational cycles, and I think that's just like a dope necessary story that I think we need to be telling. I think being part of it, I think the story was kind of secondary to me with when Mike Schur's name is on something. I think I'm excited to be a part of anything that Mike is doing. I have a roar like a guiding light to just try to work with people that I think are better than me. And I think Mike is just, a really vetted and experienced storyteller.
Tell me about the dynamic, because I mean, it kind of feels like it's like theater with so many people, so many scenes with so many people, and imagine the chemistry just had to be perfect. So this way we can feel the chemistry. Can you talk about those scenes? Because there were a lot of them.
There's a lot. Did you watch the season already?
I watched quite a few episodes.
Nice. Yeah, those were some of the funnest days. They're long. I think you get into the days when you have that many actors in a scene, and it ends up being a really long day because you just have to get everyone's coverage. But it's fun. It's so fun when you get to interact with 5, 6 actors and do it without words at times, or just be ad-libbing, and let the family dynamic, and each character is so specific that I think like you could just throw them in a room and let everything build by itself. It's very Chekhovian. I never even thought about that, but yeah, it is very theater like. It reminds me of Chekhov.
Talk about your character. Your character is Uncle Mike, who has the military experience, bringing some military ethic.
Mike is he's the only uncle. He's the only part of the family that has ever left San Antonio. So I think he thinks he's different, and he thinks he's a little more responsible or capable than everyone else. And so Mike can never be wrong, I think, is the big thing that comes with that, is like he just thinks he's almost better than everyone else. So he's fun because the lack, his uncomfortability with being vulnerable, I think, was my favorite thing to do. And whenever anyone would say something like vaguely vulnerable, not even being raw with you, but someone would say like, your path is your path, and he's like, yeah, that poem sucks. Just every feeling he gets of vulnerability, he has to kind of shut down. And that was a fun just toy to play with in him. The Mike came around. I actually auditioned for Mondo first.
Really?
So the initial audition came in for Mondo, and when I was reading the sides, I called my manager and I was just like, has anyone been cast for Mike yet? And he said Mike was still open. So I had him just send me the scenes for Mike. I just made both the tapes and just sent back both. And then obviously Mike happened. And Mike, the initial like prototype of Mike was just based on I was doing an impression of a family member that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed and morphed a little and became more of its own thing. But it started off as like a very distinct impression of somebody.
Mondo's the total opposite of Mike, though. He's like the what would you say? Like the kind of like dude. Yeah.
He's like a toxic hippie.
So what were you planning to do? Grow out the hair?
I was gonna use horse shampoo for a while and see if I could get the hair long by shooting. I was trying to make him. I made my Mondo so different than what Efrain did. I think it wasn't the right fit for me, but I was trying to make him more like like Lakeith in Atlanta. I don't remember his character's name, but I was just trying to make him very like he was high all the time and just kind of not in the same world as everybody else.
Yeah, no, I could see you more as a Mike, because we have to envision that you were once in military uniform.
Yeah.
Which of the episodes has been one of your highlights? You don't have to say that much, too much detail.
Um, I think Game Champ, which is the roof episode for me. That was just such a fun. We had Melissa Fumero directing, uh, and it was such a fun bit between me and the other uncle. That's me trying to avoid spoilers. Yeah, it was such a fun bit to be part of, and like very much my humor. I actually never thought about this before. I was saying that my love language is kind of like pranking people recently, and I think that's like why I love that episode so much. Is that is an incredible prank that Mike did. Yeah, it was just fun to be part of that.
The scenes that I enjoyed was the one where it talks about a celebration for everything.
Oh yeah.
The banner.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. I don't know if it's a Latin American thing, but I grew up the only child. So I remember my mom wanted to take a photo for everything.
Oh, everything. My mom takes pictures every time we go anywhere. Like we had dinner and she's just like, come, and she'll stop somebody and ask them to take a picture. The worst is when she takes it herself. My mom's very bad at taking pictures. So she takes like 35 of them. And you just have to sit there frozen and just be like, but yeah, that my mom needs to capture everything.
So for you growing up, what was something what was one of your favorite moments where this because your mom, I guess, that celebrated and was just like, this is a big celebration, although you maybe found it to be a minor thing that didn't require a celebration?
That's a good question. My mom was really she's really excited when I was supposed to go to college in Boston. I finished high school and I was gonna go study communications in Boston. Acting was like not really a thing, kind of like I wanted to do it, but it wasn't. I had no idea how to actively pursue it or if I could, like what that world looked like. And I randomly, it was probably like 3 weeks before I was supposed to leave to go to college. I went to my mom and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to New York, and I'm just gonna start studying theater and bartending and figuring it out. But like, I'm just gonna try to act." Um, and we didn't have a celebration like a party about it at all, but she was so supportive about that. Um, so probably that it was a very wild thing, incredibly irresponsible of her for her to be so supportive of me being like, yeah, no, forget it. I'm just gonna go do this acting thing.
That's awesome. So I guess that leads me to what I was going to ask you about how your career started as an actor. So it was theater.
It was theater. It's New York. It was theater. The seed got planted by I saw John Leguizamo. He had an HBO special when I was like, I don't know, 10, 11. Uh, it was his one man show, Sexaholics, and they recorded it like a comedy special, and they had it on HBO, and I was watching it, and that was the first time I remember like wanting to do theater, wanting to act, and then my mom walked in the room, and the content wasn't for a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old, and it quickly got shut off. But that was the moment.
That's amazing. So how do you feel that starting in theater helped you to the roles you have today? Because I mean, like I said, but this show, Primo, I mean, it kind of feels like a theater dynamic.
Yeah. I think theater is the best training. Like I do think, and this isn't to say that actors that start in film or TV aren't as well trained or as good, but I do think generally our best actors have come out of the theater. And I think there's something about having to lock in for an hour and a half on stage without taking breaks, and these sort of long form scenes where you don't have explosions or cuts or music to like entertain anybody, and it just has to be performance. I think there's a different level of concentration you acquire.
Mm-hmm.
And I think theater gave me a lot. I'm dying to go back and do some more theater soon.
Mm-hmm. That would definitely would be a nice balance, because most people don't go back to theater or
Yeah,
get to.
it's hard. I think you work for so long to get busy in film and TV, and when you finally do, I think the machine is moving, and it's hard for people to tell the machine to pause while like I'm gonna go do Tennessee Williams for 3 months.
Mm-hmm. So what are future projects for you that may be coming up that you may maybe share besides Primo?
Nothing. I guess I could talk about a few writing things that we're developing. I'm developing some writing, some shows right now. One is with Siwabessy Alcala, she's a producer on season 2 of Primo, if we have one. She was a writer on season 1. So we're developing something right now that takes place in the Inland Empire in California. And then we'll see. There's a few projects that are like hanging around, and maybe they happen. And I think we're waiting to figure out what's going on with this strike in season 2 and dates.
Yeah. Wait, so you're involved in the writing?
Yeah, so I'm writing. I trying to copy John Leguizamo. Years ago, I wrote a one-man show. And that was about Lee Harvey Oswald, and I had sent it to somebody, to Sylvia, and we kind of started talking about that and one of her projects, and somewhere in that we chose to develop our own show. So I would, yeah, I'm writing that with her, and then we'll hopefully star if my schedule lets me. I hope I have the time to.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time and talking about Primo. I enjoyed the episodes I got to watch. That's why I was like, it's one of those things where you can't watch too much because you don't want to do spoilers. So
yeah, this is my first interview about it, and it's trying to self-censor and avoid the spoilers is going to be a challenge.
Good luck.
Appreciate you. Have fun this week.
All right, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.